and welcome to my channel. My name is Jasmine and I'm a final year veterinary student in the UK. Today's video is going to be on how to write a personal statement for veterinary medicine. I know that the time is coming up to apply to UCAS and you have to write a personal statement. And I remember this being so difficult to even start, to even think about what to write. But you'll write it, you'll get through it, and hopefully you'll be joining the veterinary medicine course. So I'm just going to say a few tips on how to write your personal statement. So first of all, it's important to remember that this is a personal statement, and at this point they're not looking at your grades or anything. They want to know why you want to be a vet, what your skills are, what you've done, your commitment to this course. So you need to write things that stand out and are personal to you. So my first point is start early. Please start early. You don't want to be rushing up to the deadline and just thinking, oh no, I need to write this, and just rush it, because it can take a long time if you want to make your personal statement perfect or as close to perfect as possible. If I can remember off the top of my head, it is the 15th of October that the deadline is, and right now it's coming up to the end of August. So I would say even start now, which would lead me on to my second point, which is you do not have to write your personal statement in one go, even in 1 week. I think it's better to spread it out over time, do little bits at a time, perfect each little bit, and then it will come together as a whole. I can't remember the word count, but is it something like 4,000 characters and 500 words? At the beginning, when you start writing your personal statement, I would say do not worry about the word count. Just let your ideas flow, write it down, and do not worry about the word count at the beginning, because it is easier to, you know what, it's not that easy to cut down a personal statement, because I remember I had to cut down, and at the end you have so many good things and you have to choose what you want to keep in, keep out. But I think it is better to have too much than too little, because if you have too little you might start waffling, and no, you want to be straight to the point, concise, and just get your point across. So it is definitely better to have too much than too little. Other people might have different ways of doing this personal statement, but I think that you should start off by writing bullet points about why you want to be a vet, examples of what you've done up to this point that show that you're committed to starting a veterinary course, and just examples of things that you've done in your life, and just try and relate it back to veterinary medicine. It can be a job, it can be volunteering, it could be experiencing an animal environment, it can be raising money if you've done like a charity walk or charity run. And if you haven't done any of that, just think in school what you've done. Maybe you've organized events, maybe you've, I don't know, been a part of something. Anything that you've done in your life can be important, because that just shows that you're well-rounded, and everything that you do in your life can build skills. So after you've listed all that stuff, you can just write a quick sentence on what you learned from that experience, what skills you used, or which skills you developed during that time, and then you can expand on that later, but at least you have those points down. So now I would say don't forget to add a sciencey part to your personal statement. It's not a necessity, but it can be something that you just write down in your draft, and then if you want to add it, you can add it. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to. But I think that could be important, especially if you don't have a lot of job experience or any volunteering or anything from the previous point. I know that if you're applying straight from school, they want you to have, is it like 2 sciences? So like biology or chemistry or physics. And you could just explain why you have a love for science. You could explore what you like about science. Even if you don't love science, you can go into what you're good at or parts that you like about it, and then just expand on that. Do not write something like, I love animals, or I've wanted to be a vet since I was 5 years old, because even though this might be true, it's too general. Like there might there's loads of people, not all, but there's loads of people that have wanted to be a vet since they can remember, and I'm one of them. But do not write that. They want to know why you want to study veterinary medicine, and remember, this is a personal statement, so you have to make it personal. So instead of just saying, oh, I love animals, which is generic, you could say something like, I don't know, when I was 10 years old, I saved a pigeon from some barbed wire, and from this moment, this is when I decided that I wanted to study more about animal safety, animal health, treatments. That's a rubbish example, but it sounds better than I love animals. Like, you might not have a story like that, but it's just an example of something that is better to say. Another example, you could, maybe something that you've watched, maybe something that you've read. You can explain how it made you feel and how it made you want to do more, learn more, study about veterinary medicine. I don't know, something like that. Another tip would be to write your intro and conclusion last, because I think that these can be the hardest parts, and they are actually the most important parts, because the intro, you want to grab the reader, and then the conclusion, you want to just finish it off with a bang so that they can remember you. You want those two to stand out. So I would say, especially as the intro and conclusion don't have to be that long, after writing the middle section, you'll have a clearer idea, because it will be written down instead of just floating around in your head, everything that you've done. And I think it will just put you in a better mindset to write your introduction and your conclusion. The next tip is, when you're finally done with everything, and you're going to think that you're finally done 20 times, probably. You're going to have so many drafts, but when you finish your first draft, then I suggest that you read it out loud, because reading it out loud will give you a better idea of whether the sentences flow. Because if you think about it, when you're reading something, you can be like, oh, this is a long sentence, I need to take a breath. So that would mean that you need to put a comma or change it or add something. So reading it out loud will give you a better idea of how your sentences flow. It will also make you realize if you've made any spelling mistakes or made any wording mistakes. So my final tip would be to get as many people as possible to read your personal statement. Get your friends, your family, your work colleagues, anyone that will listen to read your personal statement. Because even if each one just gives you a little change, it can make your overall personal statement better, because all these changes are accumulating and they can give you different ideas, different pointers. You don't have to listen to all of them, but I think having different readers gives you a different perspective on your personal statement, and that can really help. So that's it for my tips. I really hope that they help, and if you ever want to send me your personal statement, you can, and I can look over it hopefully and maybe give you some help. So good luck applying, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!